Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
What's going on, everyone? Seth Miranda here. This is Rewind, and it's a bit of a light news week, but I also have a pretty good announcement. Big announcement, good announcement. I don't know, I got to get better at this, but pretty much this will be the last Rewind on this channel. So I came back to the game, and now I'm getting called back up to the majors. So Rewind is going back to its original home of Adorama TV. Nice big platform, 1 million plus subscribers on that channel that I helped build, actually. So I'm pretty excited to go back over there. And on top of that, you'll see me doing more IG lives on Adorama's Instagram. I might be doing some Facebook live demos again. I don't know about that one, but there are a few things in play. We're getting back to form, and I think it's pretty awesome. And I'm pretty excited to get back to work. I know it's been a lot of BTS on the Adorama front, but it feels pretty cool to get back into the swing of things. I brought this show back after a year of going dark with it, and now I'm excited to bring it back to the platform it began on. So all of you that came to this show from there, thank you so much for following me here. Let's go back home and let's make that show as consistent as it was for the past 3 years it ran, believe it or not. So that being said, let's jump into today's news. The first one up, which again, it's a pretty slow news week, but I figure there's some good discussion to be had. Sony A7R IV is now discontinued, but remember, they had an update. They have the A7R IV, which is their revision to the original. They went from a 1.4 megapixel back screen to a 2.36 megapixel back screen. There's been some other feature improvements like the USB port and a little bit of battery life, as some people are reporting. Some people are kind of like, ugh, because this was a quiet update. They didn't go like, hey, here's a refresh. Like, you know, Nikon used to put out their S versions that were kind of interim updates to what they had out there. This seems like more of a quiet update where they're phasing out the A7R IV original. So if you look for it now on brand new listings, it is actually listed as discontinued. So what does this mean? Well, it kind of confuses a little bit of the market. It also could mess up people who already own the A7R IV original. If you're someone that was hoping that would maintain value for a resale one day, people might not want this one as much as this revision to it. However, this one is brand new. There probably aren't any used ones out there or refurbished ones or anything like that. So this is what's replacing it. I know it kind of sucks in that regard, but it's also good that Sony was like, hey, we can make it better. Let's make it better. Personally, I don't know if this is fact or not, but I feel like they couldn't source the screens anymore, and they just leaned into an upgraded screen that they could find to build onto this. I reported on this like forever ago, and I tried Rewind Live when I brought it back. I don't know. Let me know where you stand on this. I think it's good. I get where people get upset where what they have isn't the best that it could have been, but this is also a camera that's been out for about 2 years now, maybe, I think. You had your run with it. It's not like they just slipped this out 3 months later, 6 months later, within the same year even. They just made revisions to it. And I guess this also means that they're going to take their time on putting out an A7R V if we even need one, right? Of course, we're all waiting the A7 IV, which is the lower res model of this, which is more affordable, very versatile. The A7 III was an industry changing release. It set the tone for the $2,000 price point here in the camera market. So I think it's really interesting to see, are they slowing down? Sony was kind of famous for putting out model after model after model. They're even have put out for like their smaller vlogging type cameras. They put out cameras within 8 months of each other. Their RX100 went through so many iterations. I think they're up to the 8th one. And 1 year they came out with a new iteration within months of each other. So I don't know. They're a very progressive company. That's great. And it's cool that we get new technology. Is it too much? Is it too fast? Does it negate the people who supported the brand? I don't know. Let me know down below what you think about this. I know that the used market gets kind of screwy when things like this happen. And I know a lot of people look to upgrade with that type of path method where they can just sell their gear and then get a new model years later at a discounted price after they sold the original. So I don't want to harp on that too much. Let's talk about Canon though. So on Canon rumors, which I'm not a big fan of rumors, but they are kind of fun to talk about. And it's also something I think is actually true that could be happening, personal opinion. The Canon M series is the mirrorless APS-C sensor size camera line for Canon. They are the only one of the top three that doesn't have a unified mount, meaning they have the Canon RF mount and then they have the M series mount. They're two different lens series or mounts, or rather systems I should say, that allow you to go into a mirrorless with Canon. However, if you were to buy a Canon M APS-C and you wanted to graduate to a larger sensor for whatever reason, you have to start over. Well, they're kind of wondering, do they even want to do it? There's internal discussions happening. Do they think that an APS-C RF mount camera is even worth it? I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, it's worth it, I think. I think they are going to phase out the M series. The M series is popular. It sold absolutely amazing for them, especially in Japan and Europe. They were doing very well. Small cameras. They were out there in the beginning of mirrorless, believe it or not. When people were talking about mirrorless, they didn't really put it into play until full frame hit, but these were out for a long time, the M series. But it never really took off to a point where it was a full system. It was kind of like a bubble that Canon had, and if you had the EF mount DSLR, then you were in full frame. Then when the RF mount came out, it was kind of like, okay, wait, what's this elephant that we got in the room now where there's two different mounts, two different systems of mirrorless for Canon, when Nikon and Sony both have a unified mount for their full frame and their APS-C line, meaning you can use full frame lenses on an APS-C body and vice versa. I know that Nikon will automatically crop the sensor or change things up. Like this is the Z6 original you're looking at me on right now. I could put an APS-C lens on it, a DX Nikon lens on this, no problem. It already knows what to do inside the camera to compensate or whatever for it. I think that they're gonna just have to own it up and go, we're gonna let the M series go. It was what it was, it did good for the time, but I think they have to focus on creating just one lens series. I mean, we're talking about stock being hurt right now. There's a shortage of everything. We're seeing delays on every possible thing that has ever been announced in the last 2 years right now. I mean, from cars to cameras and everything in between, there is just a hard, it's just hard times. I mean, COVID shut down things, there's been factory fires, we've had tsunamis happen, all sorts of things are going on out there. I think they have to kind of get laser focused and get the RF line lenses not only announced and fleshed out completely, which they are doing really well. It's a matter of building the lenses, fulfilling orders, and actually getting them into people's hands so they can have a system. Just because something's announced doesn't mean it's out there in the wild at full force. It still has to be successful, and success means people actually own the gear. So I think with the M mount, they never really got this traction, right? So if you started out with a Canon Rebel, you then were like, oh, I want to go into something small form factor, and you got in the Canon M. Well, then you were like, oh, well, am I going to have to start all over to again with another mount to go into full frame? I think it's this gap for people. The M mount also was never really supported by third-party brands. There's some out there. There's definitely a lot of little companies that supported the M mount, and a lot of it was actually manual focus. But it did exist, and it's a great little camera. A lot of people use it for video vlogging. I've even seen great photographers like Gary Hughes take it to trade shows where he does full-on demos of lighting using that camera because he didn't want to carry a 5D Mark IV or something at the time. There's a lot of applications for an APS-C mirrorless system. They have to decide, do they really think it's worth abandoning the M mount and going forward with the RF mount as a unified? That's kind of the question. Are sales dwindling on the M mount? I don't know. Do they think that they got the most they could out of the M mount as a market base? I don't know, but I do know that the RF glass is awesome. I do know there's definitely value in somebody going, hey, I bought an APS-C camera. I can take my lenses with me to an upgraded model. And then they're actually with someone for the evolution of their photography career or hobby or whatever you want to call it. But it's also nice, especially for guys like me and Daniel, right? We're shooting a lot of Nikon lately. Well, we also have Z50s that we film with, and on the fly, we can just take our lenses and swap them in and out seamlessly between all the cameras, which is just really nice to have. You're not carrying more lenses, you're getting more out of the lenses you already have. Wow, I feel like that was a rant and a half. I'm gonna get leaner on these talks as we go forward when I get back on Adorama, I promise. All right, I think like 2 episodes ago, we talked about the FTC putting out rules for right to repair. You guys are pretty voicious in the comments about that. And it seems like they are going forward. It sounds like Biden had an executive order to institute rules regarding right to repair, and they actually posted a statement about what those rules would be. I'm going to put this link to this page below. I really think you should watch this video link. It is only 60 seconds explaining what right to repair really is. But in a nutshell, if you have a laptop, I'm going to even use his example. If you have a laptop and the logic board goes, that's $1,500, $2,000 in some cases, and it's not charging anymore. Sometimes it's just a chip on the board that's less than 20 bucks, and you can't get those parts. They're not available. They're proprietary through the manufacturer, and you have to go to the manufacturer. Sorry for the train, I know you hear it. You have to go to the manufacturer, and I don't want to say hold it hostage, but they basically say, we got to give you a new board, $1,500. They're basically going to tell them they have to make the parts available so that independent repair shops can actually get a hold of them to make the repairs. This will lead to things like less laptops and things getting chucked in the garbage, less phones in the garbage, less e-waste, more longevity out of your devices so you can actually move forward. And a lot of people, even Linus Tech Tips uses the car model. You could have a car from the 80s running today and get OEM parts to keep it going. You get brakes, you can get all the engine parts you need for the most part, especially if it's GM. I had an El Camino forever and I kept the thing running with all OEM. I mean, I was broke and I got the thing still going forward. I love that car. Lost in the Superstorm Sandy. I digress. Tangents galore. Where was I? Oh, so basically they're pushing forward with being able to repair your stuff. And I think that's good. It's not saying that you can't go to the manufacturer. It's not saying that you can't go buy a new one or buy a refurb. It's not taking away that option. It's giving you more options to go get it repaired by someplace reputable and actually save you in the long run. I mean, I just went through a phone that melted down on me and I had to buy a refurb because it made no sense the way they wanted to repair it. I'm not going to go into that. That was episodes ago. Let me know down below. I know some people are voicious about they don't want government intervention, but the reality is, in my opinion, it's not that they're intervening for a bad reason. They're basically saying you can't keep going forward with this, and it just gets worse and worse. And as everything becomes more and more electronic, I mean, everything has chips in it. We have Ford having tens of thousands of trucks, brand new built, sitting on lots that they can't finish because they can't get the chips. This is how much it's affecting things. If we're going more and more reliant on electronics, computers, CPUs, chips, things like that, semiconductors, you have to be able to salvage them as opposed to constantly throwing them out and starting over. We're killing things out there. I mean, I'm not trying to get all like Greenpeace on you here, but come on now. All right, let's talk about Instagram for a second, because let's face it, we're all affected by it on some level. Instagram is now letting you control how much sensitive content you'll be able to have put on your feed. You have to go to your settings though. So go to your account, go to the sensitive content and allow all if you want it. If you don't, totally understandable. Some people, you don't know what they're going to post. You follow random pages. I follow 4,000 profiles like a mook. But I also follow some weird things like special effects makeup artists, right? And they'll post things that are pretty gruesome and gory, which some people might not be, desensitized to as I am. No, that's not a flex. But I do understand where Instagram's coming from on this, where they're letting the user set their own sensitivity. That's kind of great. However, it is defaulted to limited, I believe. So if you might not be seeing posts from people you follow based on that. And this doesn't just mean like, violence or something like that. This also means skin. If you follow any sort of models or something like that, be aware that you might not be seeing any of their posts because you've been limited on what's been hitting your feed. Go check out the sensitive content control on your Instagram. Of course, you do have to have updated your Instagram. So if you're using an old version of it, update it. Come on. They fix bugs all the time. Let's talk about some fun gear. Pelican. Well, I know I never really talk about Pelican because they're kind of like an industry standard as far as cases go, but they actually just put out this lens cover that is a silicone, I'm going to call it a lens condom. It actually just fits over, it's stretchy, it is durable. It doesn't cover the whole lens, and they are saying it covers lenses 67 millimeter to 120 millimeter. That's pretty big, 120 millimeter diameter, that's huge. It is silicone. It is not covering your entire lens, so it is kind of protecting it, but I don't really know. It does take up less space in your bag than, let's say, a lens case itself, or even a wrap, which I tend to actually lean into. It comes in stealth black, which actually seems like a lighter black, or this coyote, which is basically like a khaki drab or whatever. I thought it would be cool if they made them like neon-y, so you could actually really tell where your lens is or something like that, or if your case is open or something, or if you dropped it or have it somewhere out in the field, like how we have neon orange tethering cables. But maybe that's coming. I mean, this is just a launch product. I don't know who's into this. It sounds like a good idea in theory. For me, I'm still wrapping like everything in these wraps, which are, this is from Domke. There are plenty of others. Tenba makes some of them. There's plenty of others, but they come in various sizes. They're nylon, and you just wrap your lens, right? So I got like, hey, here's a lens. I put it in here, I wrap it down. So now it's like got a cushion all over it. I'm like wrapping it in a custom fashion so it's as tight as it can be. And now there's like cushion all over it. It's pretty well protected, and I just chuck it in my bag. And I'm wondering about these is, does it get like caught up on things? Does it get frictiony? So I know I'm jumping down this rabbit hole, but with these, I mean, I've been using them for decades. I chuck them in a backpack if I'm not using like a photo bag or I'm transferring gear to other people, because, you know, we do a lot of new product videos. We don't actually hold on to the gear. So we're constantly like swapping gear in and out of cases at Adorama and other places, or me and Daniel sharing gear. We kind of like lend it to each other. If I throw it in a bag, there's no friction point. It doesn't get stuck in anything. A silicone thing like this, does it have like a friction point where it just doesn't want to move in the bag? Does it wear away? Does it become abrasive on other things? I'm just wondering about that. I don't know. I would like to get a couple of these and try them out. But my big thing is, I don't know if it doesn't cover the whole lens, but this is the advantage of it not covering the whole lens, is that you can actually put it on the camera body itself. So if you're somebody that uses like silicone skin on your camera bodies and you're into that, maybe this is an extra add-on for you. I don't know if I would put it on my lens without the lens cover on, so I don't think it substitutes the lens cover, but it is cool that you can keep it on with the lens on the body. But like I said, it doesn't cover the whole thing, so it's kind of like, I don't know. Let me know down below if this is something you're into. I'm on the fence about it, but I would like to try it. They are 25 bucks a piece. They're made by Pelican, so I'm almost certain that they will hold up to like anything, because that's what Pelican's all about. I haven't had any problems with Pelican cases in the billion years I've been doing this stuff. So let's talk about some other new innovative products. Adorama has glow windproof umbrellas now. Yeah, so I might actually be doing a video on these, so stay tuned for that. These are basically silver mesh. They are, I want to say porous. There you go. So it actually does allow air to flow through it. I don't know how well it does that. I haven't tested in like a windy condition. What I can tell you is it is absolutely reflective. I did try it. I did some metering tests on it. You do get some good light output from it. I couldn't tell you about the quality of light yet. I haven't really sunk my teeth into it, but this is really interesting. So if you're someone that shoots, like, let's say sports portraits, and you're out there on an open field for, I don't know, soccer, football, whatever, pick a sport, something with a ball involved, I guess. I know for a fact it is a pain in the neck, especially during fall seasons here on the East Coast, to have high winds and you're trying to use something that covers a wide area as a modifier, like an umbrella. This might be for you. They don't seem like a heavy investment. I mean, we're talking about 40 bucks here for a 33 inch. What's like a 60, here's a 51, 60 bucks. Here's the thing though, if you did want to modify this with like a sock on it to make it like an octabox kind of feel, or a more diffused light, then it loses all that windproofing, right? Because you just put a giant sock on this thing that's basically gonna soak up all that airflow, and there goes your light. I don't think this replaces having to put a sandbag or weight on your stands, but it probably does give you a lot more stability, a lot more peace of mind, and I would like to see how hard I can push this thing in windy conditions. So stay tuned. I'm pretty sure we're working on a video for it, and if not, they do seem like a low investment. I know we have some sports shooters in this audience. I know, Tyler, you're watching. Let me know if this is something that interests you. I'm pretty curious about that, especially rooftop shooting, something on a bridge, or maybe you're someone that shoots destination weddings and you have to set up modifiers in open environments, these beautiful beaches that have wind and it just comes kicking in. Is this something that you would be interested in? I don't know. I also know that because it's silver only, you're kind of stuck in that specular silver look. You might want something that's softer. If this does well, maybe we will see a white version of it. I don't know what that would look like, but the silver mesh does seem to work as a reflector pretty well. I'm sure if it was white mesh, there might be some more loss of light. That's a very bad way of putting it, but I think you get what I'm talking about. I don't know. Let me know down below in the comments what you think about that. And for shout out of the week, let's talk about a couple people. One I'm going to call you in for is Gary Hughes. He's a buddy of mine. I think he's super talented, really great personality, incredible educator. And he will be at WPPI next month, so you can go check him out. I figured I'd give him a quick shout out because he doesn't have a huge following on Instagram, but he is a legitimate professional. And when I just talked about him with the Canon APS-C mirrorless thing. So check out his page right here. Go check out his YouTube channel. Really cool guy, does some really great stuff. Has a really great sense of humor. He reminds me of like the Ryan Reynolds of photo, to be honest with you. Really, really cool guy. Check out his work and stay up on him. He gives you a lot of great tips, does some really cool shoots, and can definitely give you some business insight as well if you're someone that's into like headshots, corporate headshots, something that's a little more that oriented. I don't know how else to put it, but that oriented. But yeah, he will be at WPI in Vegas, August 15th to the 19th. If you're going, sign up for this guy's classes. I'm telling you, I love this guy. He's really great, and I'm pretty psyched to give him a shout out here. So please go check him out. The other person I'm going to give a shout out to is Will Toft. This guy is easily the funniest guy in all my chat rooms. I love his outlook on things, really, really great. But he also is a fantastic photographer, and he really has a vision for the things he does, the things he sets up. He can tell that he walked into it with a method to get to a vision. He's not just like trying and seeing what works. He definitely is going for stuff, and he's refining his work as he goes. So please give this guy a follow. I think he's going to be ever evolving and is definitely a positive human being in the photo community as a whole. So this is a shout out to you, Will Toft. If you see him in the Adorama chats, say what's up to him. He's always in there when he's not, working. I think this guy's somebody important. You can tell by the pictures of him speaking on stage here. I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing the whole like, I'm going to make you money somehow kind of thing, or you can be better than you are. I don't know, something like that. I don't know. Oh, and last minute, I'm sorry, it just came to me. Quick shout out to Matt Irwin. Thanks so much for the shout out on your channel. I'll put a link to his channel in my description because that's how community works, guys. So Matt Irwin, thanks so much for the shout out. I appreciate it. And just to clear anything up with people, I will not be at WPPI. I've gotten DM after DM and some emails. I won't be at WPPI this year, unfortunately. It's a weird year. They shifted dates. Things are all over the place. I just won't be there, but you should support your trade shows if you can. They are definitely where photo community happens. It's where you get to have the gear in your hand and not listen to a bunch of stuff that some popular YouTube channel shoved down your throat. Make your own opinions. Try it out for yourself. Really get a chance to talk to the brands directly and listen to their philosophies and mentality of why they put out what they put out. Not just, oh, the screen doesn't flip the way I like it to flip. This is a fail. This brand's going out of business. Forget all that. Go be who you are, stand your ground, and go to these communal events like trade shows and participate and jump in some of those classes. Gary Hughes will be there. Vanessa Joy will definitely be there. Flashpoint will have a booth. Stop by, let them know I said what's up. That's Adorama's house brand, so go say what's up to them. And I'm sure we'll be doing a show before then because next week I'm back on Adorama TV. Don't forget. No more this channel for this show. I don't know what I'm going to do with this channel. I got to figure something else out. I do have more live demo archives coming out. There's 3 more that I found. I'll put them out. But for now, I'm going to try to focus on this, getting it back onto Adorama TV. All right, I'm going to leave that there. Let me know what you think about all this. Are you into the Pelican lens condoms, I'm going to call them? What do you think about the A7R4 getting the quiet update? Does it impact you? Are you already an A7R owner? Does it bother you about the value of the gear? Do you wish you waited? I doubt that's the case. It's been long enough, honestly. What do you think about Canon mirrorless APS-C? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to share this video around. That helps the most if you do want to support this channel at all. Don't forget to subscribe, plus the bell to get notified when more videos like this come out. And I will see you guys over on Adorama TV. Take care of each other. Later.